One reader flunks Tennessee football coach Josh Heupel. Another looks past 2025 to 2026 Adams. Tennessee football's 42-17 playoff loss to Ohio State is a week old, but my literary contributors are still analyzing it. They're also looking ahead. One is looking right past 2025 to 2026. Jimmy writes, regarding all the articles about UT needing better players, I'll point out that the head coach is responsible for recruiting as well as player development and coaching. Josh Heupel is a failure at all three. Philip Fulmer had a virtual NFL team in 1998, and Jeremy Pruitt brought in better players with a little cash in McDonald's bags than Heupel has brought in with millions of nil money. My response: perhaps Pruitt also should have distributed McDonald's bags to fans, who could have worn them over their head as his teams lost 20 games in 3 seasons. If Ohio State had beaten Tennessee 82-17, there wouldn't be a clamoring for a return to the Pruitt era, or the Butch Jones era, or the Derek Dooley era. Mike writes, Josh Heupel came to Tennessee when we were on our knees. We're upright, but we have much more work to get where we all want to go. If we run this coach and staff off, who out there is better? I don't believe we could land a better HC and staff. We need to accept that the Buckeyes kicked our butts. We need to give this staff a couple of more years. Let's see where we are in 2026. I am still 110% in HC Josh Heupel's corner. I believe we need to keep the current staff in place. But if Heupel wants to change his staff, then that's his call. My response: I'm sure Heupel and his staff are ecstatic that you are in their corner. But I don't think anyone wants to hear about 2026. The SEC's interim schedule benefited the Vols this season and will again in 2025. They need to capitalize on it. David writes, your New Year's prediction column was hilarious. Especially liked your predictions for President Biden, Stephen Abe Smith, Taylor Swift, and changing Billy Napier's last name. My response: at the end of the day, I'm just another name dropper. If you drop the right names, you get more page views. Glenn writes, the players' freedom to leave teams before bowl games are played adds to the vulnerability of coaches, especially those who are on warm or hot seats with their schools. LSU's Brian Kelly is just one example. He has lost 17 players through the transfer portal but added 13. But the sudden upheaval has to disrupt the team chemistry and development coaches have achieved with players. With this current landscape, athletic directors might need to be a little more patient before cutting ties with their coaches. My response: never mind how patient an AD might be. The boosters who fund a school's nil program also must be patient. Once boosters lose confidence in a coach, they stop investing. Once they stop investing, recruiting drops off. Then, even patient athletic directors are compelled to make a change. It could work the same way in my business. Once you stop clicking on my column, my bosses will kick me to the curb. That's why I drop Taylor Swift's name as often as possible. Jim writes, in watching all the hoopla associated with Ohio State's drubbing of Tennessee, I was reminded of the hype UT fans exhibited with their Archie Who buttons in 1969. That year they played an Ole Miss team quarterbacked by Archie Manning. UT fans wore those buttons, which they discreetly began putting in their pockets by the third quarter when the score was 30-0 in Ole Miss favor. Are UT fans so full of themselves that they lack the cognitive ability to recognize that they are not elite and probably should not have been selected to play in this tournament? My response: the Vols aren't as bad as Ohio State made them look. They also aren't as good as their 10-2 regular season record made them look.